Hey, Dave Dynasty here for the Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You know, I've spent years in the wrestling business, from wrestler to promoter, and now as the host of the Dave Dynasty Show. To be successful in the wrestling business, solid training from experienced instructors is mandatory if you're going to make it today. And that's what you'll get at the Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling. Not only instruction from former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tommy Wildfire Ridge, but many other big-name wrestlers, managers, and referees. And it gets better. Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling will provide in-ring training and personal character training with all practices recorded on high-definition cameras. They have over 2 tons of weightlifting equipment and tanning beds located in an indoor sports facility that will host monthly wrestling events, bringing in names big enough to ensure that you, as a beginning student, will get seen. This school has it all. For anyone interested in the Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling, call 336-862-5528 today. Once again, that is 336-862-5528. Ask for Chris, and you will immediately be on your way to your career in the wrestling business. Once again, call Chris at the Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling at 336-862-5528.
The talking, nagging, lucha watching, puro viewing, indie supporting, drinking, cursing son of a gun of a podcast. Join former pro wrestler and promoter Dave Dynasty and co-host Ike Isaacs as they talk wrestling and interview those within the business, bringing positivity back to pro wrestling. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
And welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us on this journey we are on, supporting Midwest professional wrestling, past, present, and future. This journey is based and fueled and driven by positivity and support and love and kindness. This is the movement, the community that we call the Midwest Express. Thank you for being a part. You are all the heart and soul of the movement. We had a good week. How was your week? Hopefully it was great. Hopefully, if we have any listeners in the Texas area being affected by the hurricane, we send our thoughts and vibes and all that to you. Hopefully you're safe. And if there's anything you can do out there to support those, please do. You know, let's show them some Midwest love and help them and pick them up and keep them in our thoughts. So wherever you are, whatever you do, be safe, be kind, be good, be nice to one another. You know how it goes. My song and dance. Peace, love, and happiness, man. It's what it's all about. A little positivity on this journey. Let's see, I got a couple things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to start doing some news type deals, you know, not really in depth, but just stuff that pertains to the Midwest that I think you should know. And let's see, we got a couple things here. A couple of them center on Global Force Wrestling in their Impact show, because on Global Force, if you're not watching it, maybe you're not a fan of Impact, maybe you're not a fan of the product, so be it. But you should at least tune in and check out some of it to support some Midwesterners that are on the show. Representing Ohio, Dave and Jake Christ, they're there. They're tearing it up, doing their thing. Formerly the Irish Airborne, then known as part of the Ohio is for Killers. They're calling them Ohio versus everything, or everyone. I think it's Ohio versus everyone. Now in Impact, I believe that's what they're called. But they're just killing it. Good to see them on TV every week. Good to see them doing their thing, as it is also their fellow Buckeye, Desmond Xavier, who's also, you know, I saw this kid, a year or two ago, and man, I knew he was going to be something, man. Did some work with him here in Columbus, Indiana. It was great meeting him, great getting to work with him, and it's great seeing him on TV also on Impact. And as a matter of fact, he won the 2017 Super X Cup much deserved, bright, huge, gigantic future for Desmond Xavier. He's talented, man. He's good stuff. And then, of course, the news that I'm sure you've all seen, the little clip millions of times. Marcus Everett, at IWA Mid-South. Well, he scaled a wall, and he dove, had his opponent on a table, and, well, he overshot, he missed, dropped the mean-ass elbow on the concrete floor, and it literally broke the internet. I think he's fine, I think he's doing okay, but my God, everybody in wrestling commenting on this clip. It is pretty funny. Marcus, we hope you're okay. We hope you enjoy your newfound fame. Maybe that'll parlay into a little more success for you. That's what it's all about, right? He's doing his thing, but his thing didn't work then, but still a hell of a clip to see. If you've not seen it, look at it. It's everywhere. Everybody. I mean, literally everybody from Jim Cornette to Shane Helms to everybody in the world has commented and shared this clip. It's like a train wreck. You just can't help but watch. So there's some highlights, some Midwest highlights and news for the week. Midwest guys doing some big things, good and bad. But, it is what it is. We got a great interview today on the show for you. We have Dick the Bruiser Jr. on, former son-in-law of Dick the Bruiser. Also was known as the Golden Lion when he worked for Bruiser in WWA before assuming the mantle. We talked to him about his career and so on and so forth. Great interview. Good to have him on. But before we take a break and get to that, we are, going to hit some shows here. We're going to start doing some kind of an event center type deal every week, where we hit you with some dates and locations for some what we view as key shows here in the Midwest. Kind of a last minute decision to do this. So here we go. Coming up this week in the Midwest near you. And this is not an all-encompassing list by any means, but just some shows we wanted to highlight. As always, you can see IWA Mid-South every Thursday and Saturday nights in Memphis, Indiana. Great talent, great shows there. Go check them out. You can see WCWO every Friday night in Indianapolis, Indiana. Go check them out. If you're over in the Ohio area, or if you're not, get there in Dayton, Ohio. You can see Rockstar Pro every Wednesday night. And then also coming up this week, this Saturday, September 2nd, you can see New Wave Pro Wrestling in Terre Haute, Indiana. And Saturday night, you can also see Hoosier Pro Wrestling in Columbus, Indiana. Again, that is not an all-encompassing list. There are other shows out there in the Midwest all over the place every week, almost every night. So get out there and support independent wrestling in the Midwest. See one of those shows. We are going to take a break now, and when we come back, we will have that interview with Dick the Bruiser Jr., so stick around.
Visit our friends at the Masked Republic. Go to luchaloot.com and luchashop.com and use the promo code DYNASTY for exclusive discounts.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your co-host Ike Isaacs, and today I am joined with yet another legend, someone with a familiar name. We have Dick the Bruiser Jr. How are we doing today?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, Ike. It's great to be here on your show along with Dave Dynasty. It's, I've been waiting for you to do this a long time. You've been talking about it, and then we finally got together with both our busy schedules, and I'm looking forward to this.
No, absolutely. We are too. We're so pumped to have you on here because if anybody's ever listened to the show, they know for a fact that Midwest Wrestling is where it's at. And what name is bigger in Midwest Wrestling than Dick the Bruiser, much less Dick the Bruiser Jr.?
Well, you're right. Well, thank you. No, everybody knows Bruiser, and now I've been following the footsteps for the last 20 years. Been wrestling for 35 years, so I've been a long career, and just had a match last night in Fort Wayne, actually. And so it was just a fantastic turnout at the American Legion. It's an outdoor fair show on the parking lot. 8 great matches, concession stands. There was 300-plus people there. Just a fantastic show put on by PKW Wrestling, King Pro Wrestling. Fantastic show. We wrestled the police department. Shotgun Mike Schuler, Sean and Reed, and myself versus the police department and Lieutenant Eva Lonis. We came out in, and listen to this, we came out in the EMS. They went back after the match in the EMS, so you can just see what a tough match it was.
That's what's up right there. So like he said, I mean, he's had a long, illustrious career, and today we're going to even get a little bit deeper into this and kind of get some little meat to this side of the story here. So let's go ahead and let's rewind a little bit. So where are you from?
I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I've been here the last 20 years.
Okay.
Before that, Indianapolis.
Wow. So then you're an Indiana native.
Yes, my whole life.
Absolutely. So then, the name obviously kind of alludes to how your future was, but definitely let's kind of rewind a little bit as well. So what was your childhood like? Did you grow up in wrestling? Was that like something that you always loved and wanted to do?
Yes, there's two things I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be a professional baseball player and a professional wrestler. And I played as far as college baseball and 2 years college baseball, and then I began a wrestling career after that. And so basically I did the baseball far as I could go, and then became a professional wrestler, and something I'm still doing to this day. So I've been wrestling for 35 years. Started back in the early 80s. So this has been my whole life, trained by Dick the Bruiser himself. So it's just been an awesome career, and I'm still doing it, trying to wind it down somewhat. Not taking every weekly shows now.
No, absolutely. So then, so like you said, you played college baseball. So then, yeah, you went to Indiana University. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Absolutely. So then, how was it?
That is correct.
So then, did you also attend shows, like wrestling shows, as a kid? Because, like you said, you always wanted to be a professional wrestler. So, what are some of your first memories of wrestling?
Oh, the first memories of wrestling, probably going back to the traveling to matches when I was 6 years old. You know, going back in the locker room, meeting Killer Kowalski, guys like that. I go back as far as seeing Edward Carpentier, believe it or not, Gorgeous George, Big Bill Miller, and those are all the guys that I saw. Also the Sheik, Pampero Firpo, in the matches. And then the one that really scared me when I was a little kid was the Sheik, that no good Sheik. And you know about the feuds that Bruiser and Sheik had. And so that was the one guy that scared me with that fire when I was a little guy. So it was terrific growing up. I mean, I would actually go on some school nights. I didn't get home at 3 a.m, but that's about what a passion I had for it back then. I didn't care. I wanted to go if I could. And so I always made it to school the next day. And so I grew up with wrestling.
Certainly. So then, if I'm not mistaken as well, your father was a referee for Dick the Bruiser, correct?
Correct.
Correct. So that'd probably be kind of how you kind of got your edge way into the wrestling and being able to get in these locker rooms. So when was your father a referee, and how was it having him as a referee and being able to get that close?
Well, that was the great thing. It was just like I had two fathers. You know, I go in there, and my dad would take me in there, and Bruiser would be there. It's like he adopted me as his son. And so I was always welcome to come back any time. And I was there on a weekly basis throughout the 60s and 70s. And so I got to meet all the wrestlers, and then Bruiser himself started training me. And then I started wrestling all the wrestlers, and I became Bruiser's champion back in the late 80s. So that's how that all began, right after Scott Rex Steiner with Bruiser. So, and then wrestled as his champion, actually wrestled him all around the country, being his champion back with WWA Bruiser Wrestling.
Absolutely. So then let's kind of rewind just a little bit here. So then I just want to clarify. So obviously you took the name eventually of Dick the Bruiser Jr., but when you first got into wrestling you had some different names, correct?
We're right. I first half of my career, when I started wrestling for the Bruiser, I was the Golden Lion. So I was a big, obnoxious blonde guy with a bad attitude, and basically I would get to. I will tell you some stuff that you're not going to believe. I would get in the ring. I was wrestling Jimmy Snuka one time in North Platte, Nebraska, with Del Gagne in the AWA, and I got in the ring. It actually took me a half hour to get out of the ring because I get on the microphone and get on there and say, how many girls out there want to make love to the Golden Lion? And they all boo, boo, boo. And then how many of you boys want to make love to the Golden Lion? And that just got them furious. And then I said, well, the Golden Lion looks so good, I don't think I'll make love to myself tonight. And they all started chanting faggot to me. And I'm holding my ears. And the crowd's going crazy. And then then after Snuka jumped off the top rope with the big splash, we're about, last minute or two in a 20-minute match, we tore the whole house down. And then it took me another 45 minutes for the police to get me out of the ring because they were passing around a knife to stick me. And so that's how mad I got him because I talked about how Notre Dame was going to beat him in football, this and that, beat those Cornhuskers. So, I had a great career as a heel for over 15 years, and then the last 20 years being a baby as a Bruiser Jr.
Absolutely.
See, I married Dick's daughter, and I was the son-in-law, and so they gave me the name Bruiser Jr. to use.
So that was actually something else I was curious about, because you were married to his daughter, Michelle, is that right?
Yes, correct. Yes, I was the second. She was married before, and then she got divorced, and I was divorced from my first wife, and so then Bruiser actually introduced us when I was doing TV down there in Indianapolis for him. Because he said, well, you're a nice guy, smart guy, you got a good education. I was actually teaching school at the time when he introduced me to him, so he knew I was a pretty good guy then, even though I was obnoxious, belligerent, atrocious in the ring.
So then, a lot of people have stories about Dick the Bruiser, of course, but they're all stories about when he's in the ring or when he's around wrestling. So you kind of got that unique look at Bruiser when he was, not wrestling or not doing anything to do with it. You got to see him when he was at home. So what was Dick the Bruiser like away from wrestling?
Oh, pretty simple guy. Actually, when he's at home, he'd want to be by the swimming pool with the phone next to him and just taking wrestling calls all day long, eating some Cheerios and yogurt there at the poolside, and I'll be over there and that. But then I tell you what, when we went out to eat, Dick and I, whether it was either after a match or just at home, that guy could eat a one-course meal so big, I could keep up with him. I don't think anybody could. He ate, probably a dinner for 5, but he don't only eat one meal a day. He actually just had a little yogurt and a Cheerio all day long, and then have a 5-course meal either when we got back from a match. There was a 5-course meal waiting for us at 2 o'clock in the morning. Rio Annapolis would have it sitting on the table, or else we'd, eat someplace on the way home. So, or else when we just go out to dinner as a family, we go to someplace, and I mean, he would get so mad at his grandkids wouldn't eat because we go to a buffet or someplace, and he wanted to make sure everybody ate. Well, nobody could eat like he did, not even myself. And so I never seen anybody could eat like him. And he wasn't fat or anything, only 255, but he had an appetite for that one meal.
Oh, man.
And so, so we grew up in Indianapolis there, and, I lived right next door to him, Michelle and I. So then we eventually moved to Fort Wayne.
Okay.
So, I had probably the best teacher in the world for wrestling. He trained all these other wrestlers and, trained managers and things. That's where Bobby Heenan originally came from, and a lot of the wrestlers today. And I started my wrestling career wrestling the likes of Bruiser, Moose Cholak, Bobo Brazil, And so when I first started, these guys were, at the end of their prime of their career. And so I got to wrestle all those guys growing up myself. And so I had one of the best careers in wrestling, I tell you.
No, absolutely. So then, if you don't mind, I want to rewind just a little bit here. Because, obviously we see kind of like a course here. You had a love for wrestling in the very beginning because you were very connected to it. So eventually you got into it, and by getting into wrestling, you kind of met some, pretty interesting people, and obviously met some family. But I'm kind of curious, when you were growing up, or maybe not even growing up, but when you were first deciding to start wrestling, was there like a moment to you that you said, this is absolutely what I want to do? Was there a moment that just kind of clicked for you?
No, you know what? It's just when the first match I ever went to, basically when the fans saw me, they said, you're Dick the Bruiser's son. I was Dick the Bruiser's son when I was 6 years old going to matches. I looked just like him in my crew cut, and I looked more like his son than his son. And so everybody thought I was his son growing up every time I sat to matches, because you couldn't tell the difference between the two of us. And that was kind of a unique thing too. So right then and there, I always wanted to be a wrestler. Going back in the dressing rooms, and finally got a chance for Bruce to train me. Then after I got done with college and got a teaching degree, and then that's what I started in.
Absolutely.
And so it was just it was there's nobody knew anything more better about wrestling than Bruce. He was synonymous with wrestling here in the Midwest and across the whole country. So he was a great teacher.
Absolutely. So then obviously you were taught by Bruiser. You were basically raised in that kind of, in the WWA essentially. So then what was your very first match? Because I know we kind of talked about some matches after your debut, but what was your very first match, and how did that go?
My very first match. Let's see. Boy, I got to think about that. I remember my first. Now it's coming back to me. I wrestled a guy named Nick Onassis, okay, in Muncie, Indiana, and we were having a great match. And then I took his head, threw him in the turnbuckle. Well, being a little bit green myself, doing the turnbuckle, his head came back, and I swear it broke my nose. Hit me so hard. So one lesson I heard, I made sure when I knocked somebody's head in the turnbuckle, I was at the side of him instead of behind him. And so about knocked me out that day. And so that was a learning experience there right off the bat. And then I started doing the TV taping and things like that. So that was one of my first matches as the Golden Lion. And then 6 months later, I got beat up so bad in a match. I mean, it was actually a shoot match. I was wrestling the tag team, one of my first matches ever against the Wild Polynesian Man. And who was this partner back then? He had a couple of different names. He was a big, ugly guy. He went by Tank something. I can't think of his name. And we got beat up so bad, my partner and I, in the match, and that I couldn't walk the next day, I tell you, because they were shooting on me, because they knew there was a bright talent coming up behind them that could take their place. And so after that match, I swore nobody was ever going to take advantage of me and beat me up ever again. And 6 months later, I had those guys' belt. And so I got a little payback on him, and I tightened things up in that match right on them. So his name was Murdoch, was his name. So.
Wow. So then.
So
No, go ahead.
I just want to say, so I got back, and I became the tag team champions after that. So, and then I ended up winning the WWE Championship in Toledo, Ohio. I believe it was at the Seagate Center. We had a tournament over there, and I ended up winning the belt there after it was vacated by Scott Steiner.
Okay. So then.
And so Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. You it seems like you kind of had like a first match a little rocky, but then like eventually, like you said, you obviously had the hang of it. You're a natural, so you eventually got into it. But I mean, a lot of your early career, like you said, it seemed pretty interesting, especially with that story about wrestling as the Golden Lion. I mean, just simply it sounded like that was pretty interesting, obviously. But
yeah, I had long blonde hair, wore the gold chains, and I had gauntlet sleeves, a gold sparkly outfit, and I was so obnoxious when I got in that ring. I came out with 2 mirrors on both sides of me. I was 300 pounds back then too. Now I'm 255. So I was a big guy and obnoxious. So, but I was wrestling all over the country back then with other promotions.
okay. So then, let me ask you this real quick, because I just thought about this. So obviously, you were just okay. Sorry about that. I'm trying to collect my thoughts here. I got a little off track. So you were wrestling as the Golden Lion for how long? Did you say you wrestled as the Golden Lion?
Oh, at least 15 years.
Okay. So then, obviously, you started wrestling as Dick the Bruiser Jr.
Correct.
So what was the transition to that? Because obviously you wrestled for so long as that other character that, making that transition after that amount of time may have been sort of, not necessarily difficult, but it can definitely be considered a challenge.
Right. Actually, it was almost, believe it or not, it was almost seamless because I just cut my hair short. I started losing my hair, and so I just cut my hair short like the Bruisers, and bought black trunks and black trunks to start with, and basically that's how it happened. And then I got my dog involved in the show, and she stole the show. I had a bulldog that came out too, and we came out to the music, Who Let the Dogs Out, and she would put on a little outfit. She was called Bruiser Dog, the world's most dangerous dog, just like the world's most dangerous wrestler. And she would chase the bad guys around the ring and jump out. And they would jump out. If they didn't, she would get a hold of them. I mean, she was a real show character. And one time we're in Lafayette, I'm wrestling a guy named Sexy Sean Cook. And we're the main event, and I come in, I let my dog go off the chain, and she chased Sean Cook around inside the ring twice. He hopped over the rope. She got underneath the rope and looked at him, and for some reason she did not like that guy. He had these frills on his legs and arms and everything, showing off his big biceps. She jumped down, 8 foot down off the ring. I'm just glad she didn't break a leg or a hip or something. Then chased him 2 or 3 times around the ring. Then he ran through the concession stand. There was probably 600 people at the show. It was just packed. And then he ran back to the dressing room and shut the door just in time before she got back there. And that took another 15 minutes to get to start. He was so scared to start that match, he would not come out until she was put away in the other locker room. So we had to get her put away in the locker room. So when he came back out, I got the microphone. I said, "Now, Bruiser Dog just kicked your ass, and now I'm going to kick your ass." And the crowd just popped and went crazy, and then I did end up kicking his ass after that. And so it was just a great show. Everybody was just having a ball laughing about him. To this day, he's refused to wrestle me. Yeah, but people are still talking about that match. What do you think of that?
Right, that's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah.
So when did the whole Bruiser Dog thing, when did you start that?
I started real soon. But I got my bulldog, and she started right after I started that gimmick, just a few matches into it. And so she was great with Bruiser Dog. She actually worked in the ring with me for 13 years. She passed away at 15 just a couple of years ago. And so bulldogs don't only live to usually be about 9 years old. But she worked in the ring for 13 years. and then she started getting arthritic, and then one month shy of her 15th birthday, she just couldn't get up and walk anymore. And I said, well, I'm not going to put her through pain and misery. She was fine up to then, took her to the vet, and we decided that's best to put her to sleep then. But so her ashes will be buried with me. I have them. They're right next to my bedside. And my wife has been instructed to put her in the casket with me. So that's where she'll be with me. And that was Bruiser Dog. So a lot of fans have had a lot of memories of her. In fact, I sold church many a days. Let me tell you this, Ike. Many a days she would sell more pictures of herself, of her, than me. So we'd have an 8x10 of her selling for $5, and my 8x10. It was many times she outsold me, and I thought, my God, I got the best working dog in the world. I tell you, yeah. Sell more pictures than I did. So many nights she would sell 20 pictures at $5 a pop. So that was great. Yeah, I can't blame people who want her picture over mine either. That was so cool.
I was gonna say that's a good thing though. Cute dog, wrestler. I don't know. Cute dog is always gonna win there. But
that's right. That's right.
But definitely, like you said, it sounds like you've had not only an illustrious career, but definitely a fun one. You've definitely done some things that a lot of people probably.
That's for sure. I wouldn't trade my wrestling career for anybody. So.
That's a good thing. Then.
So yes, that's a good thing. And I'm still doing main events wherever I go. So I can't beat that. Now I'm just trying to slow it down a little bit.
No, absolutely. So then, kind of to talk a little bit about the Bruiser legacy that you're kind of living on with, and you're definitely living up to the name. But something that I've always heard is that obviously you to have the name Bruiser, it's kind of a hard shoe to fill, I'm sure, but you do it very well. So
well, thank you.
So then
it is hard to fill. That's for sure. When you're growing up with him, so it is hard to fill. Let me tell you some stories about the Bruiser. Fill everybody in that doesn't know a few things. He played football at Purdue. Okay, he was born in Delphi. Went to school Lafayette Jeff, and in Delphi, Indiana, and then Lafayette Jeff. Then went on to play football at Purdue. He actually played only 2 years there. He got mad at Coach Malenkoff there, took his football helmet, hit the coach over the head, and got kicked out of Purdue. Not too many people know that either. Then went to Nevada, Las Vegas, and played football there, and was a bouncer down there. Then he was drafted by the Green Bay Packers, and not a lot of people know that. He played for the Packers from 1950 to 1954. He always wished he would have played one more, but he could make more money playing, wrestling than playing football. But if he would have played one more year, he'd have been entitled to the retirement money every year and getting that. So he wished he would have played one more, but he was making hundreds of thousands of dollars back in 55, where he was making $10,000 playing football. So it was a good career that he had. Being in those days, everything was regional wrestling. Everybody had his own territory. Bruiser had his. The Sheik has his territory. Jarrett has his. But he was nationally though. Where he was the number one attraction actually in Japan when he was there. And so he was more than just a regional wrestler. He was known around the country nationally. There's a little insight on the Bruiser. So, and then it was very easy for me to take over because I looked just like him. And I've been around him my whole life, watching him wrestle. I wrestled him. So it was easy just filling his shoes as Dick the Bruiser Jr. So it just came like a natural.
Absolutely.
And just doing a few of his same famous holds and finishes and things like that to people this day, and everybody believes I'm the Bruiser's son, and that's fine. It doesn't matter if I'm his son or son-in-law. I'm still Bruiser Jr. And that's the end of the story there. So,
absolutely.
What a great career that was.
So then, obviously, since the Bruiser's passed, you continue to live up to that legacy. So do you still have contact with, his wife, and do you guys still talk and stuff?
Oh, sure. She lives down in Florida, and so still great friends with her and the family. She's getting up there in age, but she's doing good. So I saw her at some family functions and things like that. All the grandkids are doing good, and so my kids are doing fantastic. One's a physical therapist and a CPA. He does both, and my daughter is a nursing lawyer. So, and then I got another son that's like a computer geek. I mean, they're just three awesome kids, and they're all doing fantastic. One lives in Fort Wayne, and two live in Memphis.
Okay.
So
I mean, definitely
got the best kids in the world.
Well, I mean, that's awesome, though. I mean, it looks like that you've been pretty successful, not only just in the ring, but also outside the ring.
Yeah, I can't complain there. Yes, I've had a good career and all the way around.
Absolutely.
So it's I wouldn't trade my place with anybody, I tell you. So I just enjoy what I do, and I enjoy teaching people. I actually had a chance yesterday at the show in Fort Wayne. A guy who was wrestling, hadn't wrestled for years and years, and trained him, and had another wrestler, Zach Call, help me with them, and both of them were good learners and willing to learn, and did the things the correct way after I was doing a little coaching. I coached wrestling in high school for 10 years, so, and that's always been real helpful, taking it to the next level too. So if I wanted to wrestle amateur style out in the ring, I could. So.
Oh, right on.
So if someone would get too stiff and shoot on me, or they're going to get a hold on them that they'll never get out of. So it's one thing I could always fall back on. If I need to get somebody in a guillotine, I would.
Well, that's good to know. Hopefully people don't try it then.
They better not, because I'll shoot on them.
So it's kind of something I was also curious about. I mean, like you said, I mean, you live the name, you live the family. I mean, you're just in it right now. But something I was always curious about, and I think we've actually asked some other people about this, some other people who work with the Bruiser and knew the family. Something that people have always mentioned is that the WWA video library is one that there's not much out there of. But there's all kinds of stories and rumors about the Bruiser's wife having tapes in her home, and having rumors that perhaps that there are still some kind of library existing. Have you heard those rumors?
Well, I tell you what, the whole garage, okay, was full of wall-to-wall tapes. Now, here's the problem. They were old on old reel-to-reel, 99% of them, okay? So you had all the old tapes, and then they're all in a different format. You just couldn't stick them in. So to this day, okay, there are tapes available that she does have, unless she just recently sold them. And so, but she wants such an enormous amount of money for them that nobody's interested in paying her $50,000 for what she wants for them.
Okay.
So they're out there. They're in so much storage. I don't know if they're going to be any good anymore. If they are, they've been, stored in a hot garage for a number of years. And the last time I heard, her lawyer had the tapes. So.
Okay.
So that's what that's my 2 cents of it. So, I was never, really much interested in them because they're all on different format that you can't use today. You have to make the conversion. To make that conversion, it costs so much money. So, but they're still available as far as I know.
Okay.
So you got $50,000, I should sell them to you right now.
Yeah.
All right, Ike.
I wish I had $50,000. But so then also there was also a rumor, and this one I've actually not heard, but Dave mentioned to me. He said that there were rumors that Bruiser had sent some of the library to an unknown benefactor. Have you heard that rumor?
No. Bruiser, when Bruiser died, all those tapes were in his garage there in Indianapolis. He died in Florida at his other home, but no, they were in the garage.
I got you.
Those tapes were never gone. But they're, like I said, they were wall-to-wall tapes.
Wow.
When we'd be in his garage lifting weights or something together, or just in there. So.
I got you.
No, that's not a true story.
Right on. And like I said, I had actually never heard that one. That one was new to me too. So hey, no harm, no foul. But so kind of to go back a little bit to your wrestling and your career as Dick the Bruiser Jr. Working for the Bruiser, like you said, was always a fun, interesting, and always had the atmosphere that you thrived on. But did you feel it maybe was different for you working for Bruiser once you were his son-in-law?
No, it's pretty seamless too. It was probably more fun. I guess when you didn't have that little extra pressure being the son-in-law, so I guess it was probably a little less on you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you weren't under his umbrella the whole time. So, but I can't make any complaints at all. It might have been a little easier at first, but your responsibilities being the son-in-law become greater then. Okay, maybe that's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay, absolutely.
So basically that's about it. Both ways were fine.
Okay.
Yeah, basically it's the same routine. We do come down once a month, Indianapolis, do TV, do the promos and everything, cut all them for the shows, and that's about it. We still did the same stuff, did the matches every week someplace, and so, but I just say he expected a little bit more out of me then once I became the son-in-law.
Okay.
Which was fine.
Obviously, and you did live up to that clearly, but so then also working for the Bruiser, working for the WWA. I mean, the WWA was a who's who of Midwest wrestling legends. I mean, you mentioned some of them before. You mentioned some of the greats, such as Bobo Brazil Jr. I mean, just in general, there are so many great people who came through there. Do you have any stories about some of the more notable guys, or any great memories you might have that you want to share with the fans?
Well, I can share one story. I've wrestled, like I said, I wrestled Bobo Brazil Sr., I wrestled Moose Cholak, and I'm going to tell you about a story at Moose Cholak, and I had a fair show. It was outdoors. I was 300-plus pounds. Moose was 450 probably, okay? And we're in a match. I actually body slammed Moose Cholak. And I don't think too many people have ever body slammed. I used to rep 440 pounds when I was teaching school right in front of the class. I'd rep it twice, and all of a sudden I was like the talk of the whole school. And so I actually got Moose up. It's actually easier, I thought. It's a good thing he was 6'4", where that weight was stretched out. Otherwise, if he would have been 6 foot, like myself, it would have been impossible to pick him up because there had been too much weight in the center of gravity there. But I slammed him, and the whole ring collapsed. So 2/3 of the ring collapsed down. So we finished the match outside the ring, and then we threw each other back in the ring, and then the match got over. But what a night that was! And then he had to come out and repair the ring for a half hour after we got done, and to finish up the show. So that was a good story about old Moose. I felt like I was married to Moose because that summer I think I wrestled him 25, 30 times at fair shows, and so he was just like just week after week, wrestled Big Moose Cholak. I go, thanks, Bruiser. But it was good. It was good.
And then also, this is kind of a question that all fans constantly will ask, because we've asked a lot of people this, and you've actually already mentioned them once. But everybody wants to know, did you ever cross paths with Scott Steiner in WWA?
Oh, yes, I wrestled Scott Steiner. It was in Michigan. I'm trying to think of the name. St. Joe, Michigan, I believe, or Buchanan. St. Joe or Buchanan. St. Joe, Michigan, I believe. It was in front of a packed house at that school. And we had a match. I was the Golden Lion, and he was Scott Rex Steiner. And the crowd went crazy. And I'm 300 pounds, and he suplexed me a few times, and I beat him up a lot. It was just a back and forth match, and so it was just fantastic. He was just a young kid then, because he was probably just right out of college. I was 5-6 years at least older than he was. And so he was just a young kid with a lot of muscle, but he didn't have the muscles like he has today. So, today he's probably all juiced up. Back then, he was just pure muscle coming out of collegiate wrestling. But what a tough kid. What a good guy, too.
Absolutely.
But that's all I'm familiar with Scott when he was younger. And so I had a chance to wrestle him a few times.
That's awesome. That's good then. Because everyone always asks that, and like some people are like, "No, he was gone before I got there," or "Oh, I was there a little bit before." But then some people kind of in the right in the middle, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I was there right when he was there."
Yeah, we were right there together with Scott Steiner, the Great Wojo, myself, Calypso Jim, now Bobo Jr., and so it was still good. Bobo and I are actually also. We're tag team champions many of places, so we go by the Sons of Legends. And so when I need a tag team partner, that's my guy, Bobo Jr.
Right on. So I bet that'd be a hell of a match to watch.
Oh yes, they're always fun.
So
I feel sorry for the other team sometimes.
Well, like I said, I mean, I've heard the legends also about Bobo Brazil Jr. and his chest chops. So, that alone makes me think, okay, that's going to be fun to see.
Well, those chest chops, I tell you what, they only last 1 week. You'll have a handprint on your body, and it'll stay for a week and maybe 2. It's something you don't want to try. And so if I was ever to wrestle Bobo, first thing I would do, he goes back to chop, is I'll put a hand over my chest. So that's what I would do. I'd block it.
Well, I mean, that's kind
He'll
of
give
brave.
you a second. He'll give you a second degree or third-degree burn right in your skin.
Oof.
Not fun. Because that's a real soft skin right there in your chest area right there. I remember one time I had my chest waxed, okay? I always keep my stomach and chest shaven. And then one time I had it waxed. It was only a day or two before the match. Worst thing I ever did, because I got chopped or slapped a couple of times at hitting the chest. It was the most pain I've ever been in my whole life. I'd just rather been dropped on my head than that stinging. So that's one thing I never did ever again, was get my chest waxed. Now my wife just takes the shears and shaves my chest and my back, so makes it nice and easy. I don't have to throw that pulling of the tape of the waxing. I mean, so wax yourself. Get a body wax sometime, and I'll give you a chop. See how you like it.
I think I'll take a rain check on that one.
Okay. Don't blame you.
Oh man. So definitely, like you said, I mean, you've wrestled so many. I mean, you've had illustrious, legendary. They all can describe it, but your career has been quite amazing. But you've been a mainstay in wrestling, particularly in the Midwest, for many years. So if you had to choose one memory, what would be your greatest memory of that time?
Oh, the greatest memory. Jeez, I've had so many. One of the greatest memories was when Bruiser and I were tagging together. That didn't happen very often, okay? is when we wrestled The Rock, okay? But it was Rocky Johnson, Rock's dad.
Okay.
So we're in Canada. Bruiser and I are tag teaming against Rocky Johnson and Sweet Daddy Siki. And what a memory that was. That was the wildest tag team match and I've probably ever been involved in. And I don't know if you knew Sweet Daddy Siki. He was a black guy with blonde hair, real colorful guy. And then Rocky Johnson, The Rock's dad. And what fantastic was these guys were. And so it was just a one tough, grueling match. That was probably, I got a chance to be Bruiser and team partner, first of all. And that didn't happen too many times. It's just like the Bruiser and Crusher teaming up again. And so that was one of the memories. And that memory of Jimmy Snuka was always a good memory. Also, even though something bad could have turned out. And then the other memory, I may even put this at the top. It was in Lafayette at the high school where Bruiser went to school. All right, the main event was Dick the Bruiser Jr. versus the Golden Lion. And Dick is wrestling. We're wrestling, and we're wrestling. We're going back and forth. I'm bumping all over the place. He says to me, he says, "Don't, whatever you do, don't go over that side of the ring." I go, "Why not?" He goes, "They're going to stick you." So somehow he saw a knife being passed for somebody's going to stick me there. So that's a couple times my wife has been threatened to be stuck. So that was another memory, wrestling the Bruiser and him telling me. And then another memory, it's not a good memory, but we were wrestling in Fort Wayne one night. The next night we're in Rome City wrestling. And he says to me, "Whatever you do, don't hit me on this side of my stomach." And I go, "Well, why not?" Well, found out his appendix had bursted, okay? His appendix had bursted. He drove home from Rome City, like 100 miles an hour. He drove there. He got a little bit down the road. He got stopped by a cop, got a ticket. 20 minutes later, got stopped by a cop, another ticket. And then down the road a few minutes later, going 100 miles an hour, he got stopped again, and the police guy knew who he was. He said, "Follow me." So he took him. He followed. He got in front of the Bruiser, sirens on, drove him all the way to the hospital out of Indianapolis to go. So he gets in there. They bring a wheelchair out to bring it in. And he gets in that wheelchair, and he looked at the guy, and he goes, "If you anybody that I'm in the hospital here with taking in my wheelchair, I'll kill you." Yeah. And so he did not want anybody to know that he was getting his appendix out. So he had the appendix operation, everything successful. And then what does he do? He's in the hospital bed a day later doing sit-ups.
Good Lord.
And then he sort of bursted it, and after that, and then he always had like a big swelling because of that reason. He couldn't let it rest. And the reason he died at such a young age, he needed to be on high blood pressure pills, and he didn't want any medication or anything. And so he was just that rough and tough guy. He goes, "I'm not taking any pills. I'm not doing this. Nobody's going to cut my chest open, give me surgery or anything like that." So he was a true tough guy, I tell you. And if you looked at him wrong, he'd come over right to your table. We'd be out eating, and he'd ready to sock somebody in the head. Otherwise, as long as you left him alone, he was fine. You come over to bother him, he'll warn you one time. You come over the second time, he'd tell you one more time. The third time, it doesn't matter. I seen him pick up a guy that was 6'8", 300 pounds, slam him through a pinball machine. And so you just don't mess around with him. And so he was a true tough guy. That was no image that he put on when he was out in that ring. He was really that way. That was his personality right there. So there's a lot of stuff right there nobody knows about Bruiser. I just told you.
No, I mean, that's perfectly fine because, I mean, that's That's craziness because I hear the same thing from a lot of people. They always say, "Oh, Bruiser in the ring is pretty much Bruiser outside the ring."
That's right. Just like in a football game, I think he a couple times he broke a couple people's legs in a game, in a football game. I mean, that's how tough he was. And he was barred out at New York, Madison Square Garden, because he beat up the wrestlers all in the ring and went nuts and beat the cops up in the ring. And so, if that was today, he'd be still in jail. So he was barred out of the state of New York and Madison Square Garden in New York City. Could not go back there. So because he had lawsuits against him for wrestling, beating up cops, breaking arms. So it was all true stories.
That's insane. Well,
yeah, it was a true story about him, and him and Karras got into it at Karras's bar too, and tore it up.
So he sounds like a legitimate kind of person that you just did not want to mess with at all.
Oh no, he'd tell you one or two times, and that's it.
I guess that one or two.
Because I'm going to go back to that one story. I'll tell you about that when the guy actually came up. I'll tell you the how it really went down. The guy came up to Bruiser at the bar and said, "Oh, you're wrestling, but not a bunch of fake stuff." All right, and he comes back to get out wrestling. There's nothing but fake stuff. Come back the third time, Bruiser picked him up. This guy was 6'8", 380, 400 pounds. Put him right through the pinball machine, and so that's how that went.
I bet he believed wrestling was real after that.
Oh, that's right. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've been wrestling all my whole life. Blood is real. For people out there that are listening, blood is real. I've never seen fake blood. Wrestling, I'm going to tell you, is real. You don't fake suplexes, slams. If I take a normal person out of the audience, slam them a couple of times, suplex them, they're not getting back up. Now, what you see is the fake stuff in wrestling is because our body's trained to take falls and bumps. The fake stuff in wrestling is when I slam somebody and they put their hand in, but they over-exaggerate how much it hurts. It all hurts, but they'll over-exaggerate. And then that's the fake stuff in wrestling. But that's the showmanship in wrestling. And so that's what makes the wrestling the show. But that wrestling is all real. I'll take anybody in there and just kick the shit out of them if they don't believe me.
So that's an open invitation for anyone who doesn't believe.
Open invitation.
A free ass kicking if you don't believe.
That's right.
So, just overall, just looking and talking to you right now, the whole thing with your entire career, it's pretty amazing. You've done a lot of great stuff. So, out of all the memories and out of all of that, when people look at your career, what do you hope they notice about it overall?
What they notice about it overall, I'm going to tell you one thing, how I make it fun for the kids to this day. How I make it fun. To me, it's all about the kids having fun. And that's what I do. I make it family friendly when I'm out to wrestling. Just like yesterday, I brought kids in the ring and we danced to Who Let the Dogs Out. and I had 20 or 30 little kids come in the ring with me and celebrate the victory. We marched and move our arms to the Bruiser dance and dance. It's making memories for kids and families. That's why I do it this long. And I just got done giving a talk at a daycare just a week ago, Thursday. So that's how I give back. I just make it fun for kids and families. And that's what's near and dear to my heart in wrestling. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. So then, obviously your career has been, like you said, it's been amazing. You're living it. You're doing the things so that you can make it amazing for other people. So something we always ask anybody, even those who have wrestled in the past, and then also people who wrestle in the current, is what are your opinions on the modern style of wrestling?
Well, I like the modern style wrestling. Just long as it tells the story of the wrestling match. I love the fast pace. Everybody's incorporating it. So no, you got to grow with the times in wrestling. So no, I enjoy all the eras of wrestling. I enjoy what's this fast pace now. It's not just grab a hold and stay. I mean, you're actually moving around and doing stuff off the ropes nowadays. It's more high flying, and I love it. So, absolutely. But I like a good old school match too. So, I'm a veteran that's seen it all. I've been wrestling for 5 decades, and so it's been a great career for me. And I've seen all types of wrestling. So, I don't like one over the other. You just got to go with the times, and you gotta take it in and enjoy it, because that's what's here now.
Absolutely.
So
obviously, I mean, first of all, I want to thank you for coming on here. But before we let you go today, a couple more things. First things first, like you said, you're still wrestling. You're still out there. You're still doing it. So what's left for you in wrestling? What are your goals for the rest of 2017 and moving forward?
Not to get injured. How's that?
That's a good one.
Okay. That would be number one goal, not to get injured. I mean, because when you start getting my age, you start, you know what, I used to get in a hot tub because it was fun, Ike, and now I get in a hot tub like today because it's a necessity. So there's the difference.
That's fair enough.
And so, that's fair enough. Okay. But I still enjoy it. I still like making memories for kids. That's what it's all about. And you tell Dave Dynasty, all right? Tell him I'm going to punch him in the nose when I see him for not getting in on this interview with you, because you're doing a great job. And now I think we should just fire Dave now, okay?
Look, I've been telling him that for a long time, but he keeps telling me something about, I own the show. My name's literally in the title. Like, why does it matter?
Well, you tell him when I see him, okay, that I'm going to straighten out his eyeballs with my fist. I'm going to punch him right in the nose, and I'm going to kick him in the groin. And that's an order from the Bruiser. Tell him, okay?
I will certainly tell him. Oh, man. Well, really, thank you so much for coming on here. I mean, it's been a legitimate...
You're welcome.
It's been an honor and pleasure. But before I let you go, is there anywhere... someone can follow you, like on social media, anywhere someone can follow your career?
Well, best thing to do is just friend me on Facebook right now. Bruiser, Bruiser, and spell Junior out, Junior, Bruiser Jr, okay? And spell it out, and I'll friend you on Facebook.
There you go. All right, well.
And you can see all the highlights from the matches from... that we had yesterday at American Legion 241, packed house, and it was just fantastic. Okay.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on here today. We'll definitely have to catch back up with you here in a little bit. We'll definitely have to do another interview, because I got to say it was a heck of a lot of fun, and I'm sure you got loads more stories to tell.
All right, everybody keep listening to the Dave Dynasty Show with Ike. It's the greatest in the world. It's the best. And the Bruiser says, "Rrrr."
Come crack open a cold one and let Old Manser tell you a story.
King of Big Dog Style, Larriton Light Beer, the king of the trailer court, your favorite wrestler of mine, me.
This is Warner's Wisdom with Mance Warner.
All right, people, we're live right here. The red light's on. That means Old Manser going to be out here talking. You open them ears. Open them. Well, you can open them eyes, but you ain't gonna see nothing. I always forget this is just a podcast on here, a podcast. Nah, it's Old Messer, King of Big Dog Style, Larriton Light Beer, the Southern Psycho, King of the Trailer Court, Master of the Pop-Up Headbutt, Old Messer, baby. Your favorite wrestler and my Old Messer, right here on the Dave Dynasty Show. Might I say, the best part of the Dave Dynasty Show, Old Manser, Warner Wisdom, on here talking to you. Now, it's a little late today. Old Manser been very, very tired. Been on the road all weekend, all over the place, doing what I do. Now, y'all just wait a second while I give me a stick of bubble gum here. Now, on this edition of Warner wisdom, old master, basically gonna fill y'all in on some tips, on some advice for the road, on some life lessons. Y'all know the routine at this point. Now, yesterday, old master is out in Cleveland, Ohio, AIW show, doing what we do every week. And the advice for this week is something that old master always forgets. I always forget. I need to take it myself, but I always forget. Now, first advice for y'all out there, go to ProWrestlingTee.com, buy yourself an Old Master t-shirt, beautiful t-shirt, buy one, you'll look cool. And you help Old Master with his purchasing of light beers. I'm going to get into light beers later on. Now, first tip for the road that Old Master was talking about earlier, I always forget, I don't follow through with it. To save money, so you ain't spending money on hotel rooms, we went over this before, y'all people listen to me out there. Old Master always forget this, and it always bites me in the behind. When you're on the road, and you're driving, making towns, hitting the pay window, getting the W's, getting your green and your white. That means your green envelope with your white. Whoa, wait, I said that wrong. Your white envelope with your green money in it. See, Old Master all discombobulated. I'm tired now. Okay. When you go on the road, you got to remember, you need to bring a couple pillows and a nice blanket, man, so you can sleep comfortably. Because Old Master always forgets. I end up pulling over in a hotel parking lot because ain't no one going to mess with you there. I pull over and I have to sleep in my truck. Now I do this so I don't got to spend no money on the road and get a hotel room. I'm a cheapskate. It's just the way it is. Now, Old Master don't bring the pillows and I don't bring the damn blankets. So then I end up sleeping straight up with my head against the window, using a bag with my t-shirts in it as a pillow, or I end up slumped over on my side. I wake up, my neck hurts, my back hurts, my knees hurt. Your whole body hurts because you try to sleep in a damn beautiful truck. Now, if my truck heard me saying that, it'd be pretty pissed off at Old Master, but that's just the way it is. It ain't comfortable sleeping in a damn truck all the time. Now, if you're smart, Old Master going to write this down so I remember too, because Old Master forgets this stuff, baby. Bring a couple pillows. You can lay them down so your back ain't going to be hurting. Your neck ain't going to hurt. You ain't going to wake up feeling like you just done a damn death match and fought all over the street. So remember that. Bring a blanket. Bring some pillows. So when you pull over, you go to sleep comfortably. You can pretty much put pillows all up in your truck, up in your vehicle, whatever you got to do, so you can sleep good and you ain't in pain all night. Now on to my other advice for the road. Old Master old school. I don't like using the GPS stuff, but I got to because I get lost all the time. Now, so, advice to everybody. Y'all got to use that GPS. I'm going to tell y'all a story. Perfect little story. It's going to explain exactly why you should pay attention and watch on that GPS. See where you're heading out on the road now. Dramatic pause. Dramatic pause. Dramatic pause. What I do? I just had to get a wackadoo in there. You got to get your shit in sometimes, know what I mean? Now, okay. After the AIW show, they had that big old boxer fight. I ain't even going to talk about it because everyone already be talking about it on the internet like it's big old thing. Anywho, after the AIW show, Old Master and AJ Gray are hitting the town, right? Old Master and AJ Gray, we at the bar, we drinking a whole bunch of light beers. AJ Gray got that Mad Dog 2020 on him. Now, we pretty much shut down the bar. Then there's a party we're going to hit up, right? Here's where the issue come into play. We all liquored up, and we gotta walk to where we're going to go. We're being responsible, safe individuals, though. We ain't driving. We're going to walk in with cheapskates. We ain't getting no damn Uber either. So, we put in the old address on the phone GPS deal, and we proceed to start walking through the streets of Cleveland. Hitting the road, we're walking, think we're getting to where we got to get to, right? I believe it's Lord, could be midnight, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. It's dark outside. We don't know where we're going. We think we know where we're going. We got our GPS system. Walking down the road, seeing some shady business going on in the streets of Cleveland. It's okay, baby. We know what's going on. We're good. We're walking. Somebody out there blaring music right now. Old Mance are going to lose his mind and head out there and start hitting wacky dudes. Knee pad up, knee pad down, pop-up headbutts, big old lariats. You know how it goes. Now, let me get back to my story here. We're walking. At one point, AJ Gray done run into a damn pole sitting out in front of a damn, I think it was a grocery store, maybe like a cell phone store, something like that. Old Mance were laughing at him. Old Mance turned around, run into another pole. So both of us just ran into stuff. We're just trying to get to where we got to get to. It's dark outside. We don't know what's going on. We're both stubborn. We ain't going to get no damn Uber. We're going to get to where we got to get to, right? We're making our walk to where we got to get to, and we're too stubborn to try to get an Uber. We're using a GPS. We're going to get there. 10 minutes turns into 12 minutes. 12 minutes turns into 15 minutes. 15 minutes turns into 19 minutes. It's 20 minutes. 25 minutes. We're still walking. We don't know where we're getting to. At this point, we basically just giving up, and we figured out we just going to walk in circles forever, and we didn't know where we were going to get to. Then we realize at this very moment we're both dummies. We look at a GPS system. I've seen all kinds of shady business going on out here in the streets of Cleveland. Don't know where we're going. We've ran into multiple damn bushes and poles, and we're going to get hurt out here. We're stumbling all over the ground. We both look at the GPS and we realize 28 minutes ago when we started this journey, this pilgrimage to the damn party we're going to, that old Mance and AJ Gray has started off the journey horribly wrong, and we took the wrong turn. From the get-go, when we walked out of the bar establishment that we were in, me drinking my light beers, AJ got that, I think it was some sort of blue raspberry, or no, what was it? It might have been orange, I can't remember. Got that Mad Dog on him. Now, all we had to do was go back to the beginning, and instead of taking a right, because we were told it's just right around the corner, so in our heads, right around the corner. We should have took a left. We go all the way back to the damn bar we were at. It's basically been an hour traveling in our broken down bodies all over the streets of Cleveland. If we just would have took a left and walked 15, 20, 30 steps down the road and take another left, we're exactly where we got to be at. But the moral of the story is, you got the damn GPS system. Just pay attention to it. Look at it. Take a couple more minutes instead of being stubborn and instead of thinking like old Mance did. Oh, we just going to head right there. We got this, man. Just look back at the damn GPS system. Put in the damn address. And then pay attention and walk exactly where you got to go to. Instead, we're just being stubborn, thinking we know what we're doing. We got what's going on. And we didn't. Moral of the story, pay attention, people. Keep your eyes on the prize, your feet on the ground, your light beers everywhere in the world, because you're going to need them in this type of journey. And that has been another edition of Warner Wisdom, baby. You got the GPS system, pay attention, don't be a dummy. Always be smart, don't be drinking and driving. Old Mance and AJ Gray, very smart. We walked on where we had to get to now. Keep making them towns. Keep hitting them pay windows. Be safe. Have a good weekend. I mean, a good week. Until next weekend. It ain't going to be as good as old Mance's, but, you know, who can be? That's just the way it's going to go, people. Now, I'm going to get off here, get back to what I'm doing. You people enjoy your day. Like I said, ain't going to be as good as old Mance. This has been another edition of War and Wisdom right here with your favorite wrestler and mine, me, old Mance, baby. See y'all next time.
Hey, Dave Dynasty here for the Tommy Wildfire Rich School of Wrestling in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You know, I've spent years in the wrestling business, from wrestler to promoter, and now as the host of the Dave Dynasty Show. To be successful in the wrestling business, solid training from experienced instructors is mandatory if you're going to make it today. And that's what you'll get at the Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling. Not only instruction from former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tommy Wildfire Ridge, but many other big-name wrestlers, managers, and referees. And it gets better. Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling will provide in-ring training and personal character training with all practices recorded on high-definition cameras. They have over 2 tons of weightlifting equipment and tanning beds located in an indoor sports facility that will host monthly wrestling events, bringing in names big enough to ensure that you, as a beginning student, will get seen. This school has it all. For anyone interested in the Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling, call 336-862-5528 today. Once again, that is 336-862-5528. Ask for Chris, and you will immediately be on your way to your career in the wrestling business. Once again, call Chris at the Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling at 336-862-5528. And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. This is Dave Dynasty, your host, your guide for this journey that is the Midwest Express. A trip of positivity supporting Midwest professional wrestling, past, present, and future. What a great interview with Dick the Bruiser Jr. It's important to honor, respect, and preserve the legacies of the legends that came before. And there's a lot of them here in Indiana, a lot of them here in the Midwest that people just they're not as aware of. So it's good to have him on. Good to talk to Junior, Dick Bruiser Jr. Good to hear a little wisdom from Mance Warner. He is the future of wrestling, but he's out there kicking ass in the present. So get out there and see old Mancer. Buy a shirt. Buy a picture. Hell, buy him a light beer. The Southern Psycho. Go see Mance Warner and support him. But get out there, support independent wrestling in your area, wherever it might be. But especially here in the Midwest, if you're here, get out there. Shows all over the place. There's shows all over the place, all over the world, all the time, every week. So get out there, see a show, buy a shirt, buy a picture, buy a hot dog, sit back, relax, and enjoy. But get out there, right? Support independent wrestling. Good stuff. And if you're looking to dive in, if you're looking for a career in wrestling, if you want to take that step to fulfill your dream, make sure you check out our sponsor, the sponsor of the Dave Dynasty Show, the Tommy Wildfire Ridge School of Wrestling. You heard the ads through the show. Call them. Call Chris Marsh. Arrange to talk to them to go visit their facility. Their first class is underway. Looking good. Tommy's hard at it, training these guys. But, call Chris. Get on board. There will be future classes. They will get you trained. They will get you in. You will not regret it. Former NWA World Champion Tommy Rich. Who better to be trained by? So contact them. That's it for this week. Next week, we have another great interview with another legend. We have the one, the only, the big Jim Lancaster will be on the show next week. A great interview, a very underappreciated talent here in the Midwest. And, old Jim doesn't get the recognition for what he's done. He's wrestled everybody. And he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. And it kind of, you can hear it in the interview, man. It kind of, next week, it kind of reflects in his self-esteem a little bit. So we show him a little love, man. We show him you're the man, Jim. So that interview is next week. That is a great interview with Big Jim. So tune in next week and hear that. Until then, we are done. Have a great week. Be good to your fellow man. Support independent wrestling. And be kind to one another, man. Spread a little love and a little positivity. Show them what the Midwest Express is all about. But until next week, be good, be safe, be independent, and keep on growing. See you next week, fans.